My name is beau-hindman. It is the 30th of April, 2015. It makes it Thursday. Thursday night. You know what that means? Because it's Thursday night, it means it's Avengers night. We get to watch the Avengers tonight. Ha ha ha. Anyway, today is going to be a lot of fun. What we're going to do is check out some Achaea. Achaea, if you're not familiar, is a MMO. I'm sorry, is a MUD. MUD. I was looking at the chat room. Sorry about that. Multi-user dungeon, as they call it in the old days. I like to call them a text-based MMO. It's an MMO. Just call it an MMO. They have persistent worlds, custom character creation. They have all sorts of everything you can find in an MMO. You can find in a MUD somewhere. It's just that instead of seeing everything, you're reading the description. So it's perfectly MMO-ish. It's what MMOs used to be back in the day. So joining me today to help me kind of work my way through the madness that is Achaea is Justin. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Yourself?
I am fine. We have to pretend like we haven't been talking for the last hour, by the way.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Now we have to pretend, oh, hey, we've never met before. We have to pretend that way. So let's pretend that we're just now met and stuff. So it's wonderful to meet you and talk to you for the first time. I have done an interview. I have done an interview with your CEO, right?
Yes, with Matt Mahali. Yes.
Matt Mahali, fantastic dude. And you are from the company is called Iron Realms Games or just Iron Realms?
Iron Realms Entertainment.
Okay,
yes.
Entertainment. Sorry, I didn't want to confuse that with gaming or anything. In case you want to make movies one day. All right, so tell me a little bit about Iron Realms real quick. How long has it been around? Stuff. When did it start? That kind of thing.
Yeah, we started back in 1997, so about 17 years or so now. Just about 18. Yeah.
You started with MUDs?
Yes,
oh, wow.
Yes. We started with Achaea, which is the game we're going to be playing today, and then since then we've opened up 4 other games. So we run 5 games under the studios.
All MUDs, right?
Yes, all MUDs.
Okay, so tell me kind of your brief history with the game, with the company.
Yeah, I started as a player probably 2001, 2002, and then I played for a couple of years. And then I started volunteering for the team in 2005.
Okay.
From there, and then everything sort of played out, and I came on staff in 2008, and I've been on as the producer since then. So
very cool. I've told this to millions of people, and you can still hear me, right, Justin?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I've told this to lots and lots of people. If you want to get into gaming, one of the best ways you can get into gaming is find one of your favorite games and start volunteering for it, working for it, make a website, whatever you can do to get involved. And then once you do that, maybe eventually you'll be able to work for them. Just like Justin here, who's now been with his favorite game for a cajillion years. Okay, so we're going to get into Achaea a little bit. Achaea is, what I really like about Achaea, it's one of my top probably 3. I have about 3 favorite MUDs. Achaea is fantastic, and Gemstone 4 is fantastic, but don't go play that. You're going to play Achaea today. So Achaea is great because of, there's a few reasons, Justin, I really like what you guys and girls are doing over there. You're really, the MUD is really detailed. Now, I haven't played any of the other ones yet, so I need to do that. But you're welcome, live stream. Thank you for showing up to my live stream chat room. But as far as Achaea though, you've managed to keep it, or to try at least to make it more modern. What we're looking at right now, for example, is a beta client. This is all web-based, HTML5. What's interesting about that is you were saying that because it's HTML5, you should be able to run it on a tablet or whatever, and it's going to kind of adjust to the size of your screen, correct?
Correct, yes.
Oh, excuse me, sorry, I had a sip of coffee there. So what people don't understand about HTML5, if you don't know what that means, it's basically it's a thingy that they type numbers and then it makes stuff. That's probably the best explanation. That's all you need to know, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, exactly.
Yep.
Okay. So, but just think of it that way. HTML5 it goes across platforms. So like you could be on the iPad and run this, then you could jump on your PC, this gaming PC like I am, for example, on a big 1080 screen and run it as well, and you're going to have the same experience. Now, when you're looking at here, it's going to look a little bit funny, especially if you played MUDs before. You're going to see my funny blue text. You're going to see my white text. This is stuff that I customized myself using their different options here. Now, granted, a lot of their options read kind of like a programming manual, so you're going to have to ask around a little bit. They're working on that, correct, Justin?
Yes, yeah, definitely one of our big things is making things more accessible to the new MUD player.
Right. I would like to think that I've been bugging you enough about it that you did it just to shut me up. So that's what I tell myself. But it's pretty cool. I mean, you can make your text. I have to have great big text, and I prefer to have black text on a white background. As you can see, I set that up. But yours players, if you're watching this later on YouTube and you want to try it out, yours can look a lot differently than this. But look at this. They have the health bars. They have the hotkeys here. So all these things that you might find in a quote-unquote standard MMO, but they're just not going to add like a 3D monster and stuff. So it's a really interesting way to play an MMO. So let's go through some of these questions though first before I get off onto a tangent about also. Okay, number one, and I hope you prepared answers for this. What makes Achaea different from other MUDs?
Whew, that is a tough one to start off with. I think probably we've got full-time staff on board. Like a lot of MUDs you find are very much a hobby MUD. Mm-hmm. So some guy who runs it 2 hours a day, he puts into it after work, and it may be down for 3 or 4 days at a time when his computer's offline and things like that. Sure. But we've definitely made an effort so that everything is extremely high quality, and we've got good quality servers and things like that. So low latency, especially with our PvP and PvE content and stuff like that. So we've definitely, our team is amazing. We've got volunteers and staff who are dedicated to running roleplay within the game. So there's huge opportunities for the players to interact with the world and even take steps in the events and roleplay that goes on to actually shape the world and make a difference to how the event plays out. There's no sort of real fixed endings to a lot of the events. And
yeah, roleplay is a huge. Some MUDs enforce it a lot more. You guys and girls over there, you have some rules for roleplay, but you're not. It's not as strict. How would you describe the rules on roleplay?
With a lot of the public channels and anywhere where you're interacting with other players on a sort of in-character level, we try and enforce roleplay there, just so that if you're dealing with another player, it is, in the game and you're dealing as your character. But we provide a lot of sort of leeway for new players and things like that. So if you're really stuck and you have to say, well, this window isn't working or something like that, or we're not going to penalize you for saying things like that. It's like there's a level of understanding from all our players and from the admin side of things that RP isn't the be all and end all of playing the game. So there's going to be some support there with what you do.
Well, one thing I'd like to point out, all MUDs that I've had experience with have some sort of help file. Usually you type help into it or whatever. And this one, you're a fantastic web-based HTML5 client. You actually just hit the help button. And all this is doing is giving you a graphical representation of what you could type in game. And all it is a pop-up to tell you, just type newbie and then the question mark. So what I found is when I first started playing, what was really cool is you could ask newbie anything. You didn't have to be in character, although I tend to kind of be in character all the time when I play a MUD. It's not like I roleplay necessarily all the time, but, I just try to avoid modern day language and stuff. So the roleplay comes pretty natural to me. But the newbie channel is really, really fantastic. Or if you type help in your thing here, it's going to give you all, look at all these different... This is something I have not seen before in a MUD where it just pops up like that. Usually it's just a ton of text, and that's where a lot of people get scared. So like if I wanted to talk about communication like we were, I could do that, and this can tell me how to do different things. So your help file alone, along with like you can see the newbie channel going over here on the right side of my screen. The help file alone is brilliant. So if you get lost in Achaea, you're going to be able to find your way pretty easily. So let's see here. So Achaea, you're saying it's professional. It's got some nice people working for it. I think everybody would say that, but I believe you because I think you guys are pretty cool. Why would a player who normally plays something like World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, EVE Online, let's say somebody who's more of a sandbox fan, why would someone like that want to play a MUD?
I think it comes back to the age-old sort of read the book versus watching the movie debate. I think when you read a book, you have like the mental imaging of what's going on, and it seems like more of a real inside your head. And then if you go and see the movie later, it doesn't seem to match up with what's in your head. So I think that's one of the big things that MUDs have going for them, is that as you play, everything is going on in your imagination, you're visualizing it and things like that. It's like a story that is constantly evolving, and it's one that you can influence in many ways. So
well, I say it's like playing a book, like playing through a book, and it is in the ways that you physically interact with it. You're reading descriptions and you're moving. Now, once you read a description of a room, let's say, especially if it's a room you visit a lot of the time, you're probably not going to read that every time. You're going to, you're going to kind of skip that description and stuff. But that description often changes. People come in and go out of the room. So you learn to kind of pay attention to the little bits that change. And then when you find something new, it's really, really cool. What I found, too, is with text, you're able to still do actions like creatures coming in and out of the scene, actions. I think you have some NPC. Actually, your I know your tutorial has a ton of NPC interaction. So I'm getting that stupid spammer guy back in. Anyway, sorry about that. So, just that it's because it's in text, I wouldn't want a graphical MMO fan to think I can't do certain things, because you can do everything you could. Now, what are some of the limitations, do you think, though, to a MUD compared to like a graphical MMO?
I think accessibility is a big one, and that's something that we're definitely trying to fix up with, say, the new client and things like that. A lot of people will come and start a MUD and they'll just be like, it's so much reading, it's so much text. And I think you have to develop a bit of a mindset to just skim over and learn to pick out the relevant points. Right. So the actual just confronted with the big wall of text at the start is like a big thing that just shocks people, and they may just turn around and leave the page or leave the game. Well, because a lot of people,
they have to remember that the reading is part of it, and you'll get used to it. Again, that's why the key is to set it up however you're comfortable, because if you're going to be spending a lot of time reading, you do want to be comfortable with all the reading you're doing. So I always spend some time in the customization options if I can, and set it up. That's why I have the descriptions like this, and so it gives my eyes a break. There's breaks. I actually have the colors kind of form a break in the conversation to me, so I can see when somebody's talking, et cetera, et cetera. But before I go on to just some more questions, let's get kind of some of the actions now. So what, if I'm a player of Achaea, and right now I'm borrowing this character, so it's not a big deal, but what do Achaea players typically do, especially if they, let's say it's not a newbie character, but somebody who's been there for a little bit and they're comfortable with the game, what would that player probably be doing on a day-to-day basis?
Well, there's a huge amount of PvP. We've got something like 400 or so areas available at the moment, so they may just go and do some questing in areas, or just bashing or grinding, whatever terminology you want to use there to advance their level. We've got big player-run city-states and things like that, which may have hundreds of people in them.
So
and
politics.
You can sort of, the politics is amazing. Like, you can work your way up to run these organizations, and then declare war on other city-states and things like that. There's huge amounts of things. And PvP, we've got a huge PvP scene, but...
Now, the PvP, does it play like an integral, like you have to PvP, or can you avoid it?
For the most part, you can avoid it if you're not a big PvPer. There's lead-ins to PvP and a lot of things, so it's possible if you're going out to, say, defile the shrine of an enemy god, then you're putting yourself in that danger, and then you're opening yourself up to PvP and things like that. But if you play a very pacifist lifestyle, then there's a good chance that you're going to avoid PvP most of the time. So
because I'm a wimp, I don't want to fight. So, but to kind of go over literally how it works, as you can see, I came into this room. In fact, I'm going to go up north. I'm going to come back into the room. So I'm going to go. Let's say you're traveling now. I'm literally clicking on your map down here. Now, this is not something you're finding in every MUD. So let's say if I'm wanting to travel with direction, you simply type the direction S for south, or you type it out or whatever, and then you hit enter, and then their map is actually, Achaea's map is actually literally animated for you. Now, this is a pretty typical MUD map. You can find old school mud maps online for ancient games that will have all these squares everywhere that'll indicate down, up, like ladders, everything like that. But this one is great because it's actually literally animated for you over here. And so let's say if I go down into a room, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to see, in fact, I'm going to hit L for look. Look is just a standard mud description command. You know, it's also a great one that's pretty basic. Everybody can kind of remember, I'll just type a look and see what happens, you know, that kind of thing. And then you're going to see the description of the room. This short hall is encompassed by shadows, blah, blah, the feeble light. So you can read all that, and it really gives you a sense of atmosphere. Now, like I said, as you go to certain rooms over and over, you might skip those descriptions a little bit. But then again, if you think about it, when you're playing, let's say, a graphical 3D MMO, you're not necessarily stopping and being like, look at that tree. You know, you get a little used to it. But the text really does something great for description. It's just something really cool. But if you notice here, its body is covered by a thick, dark cloak. A mysterious figure stands here. So there's something in the room with me. As a matter of fact, if I'm looking in the description, there's a mob right there, see? So I can tab, according to what you said here, right? I think I already have them targeted, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I have this mysterious cloaked figure. I can look at him either by targeting or hitting look, and it's going to give me descriptions. Rather stocky, a thick black cloak covers its form from head to blah, blah, blah. I mean, what is this thing that I found? You don't have to tell me, but I'm like, what is this? So next thing I want to do, in some MUDs it's different commands, but in this one it's consider. And he looks like he appears to lack strength. He has 100% health remaining. So at this point, I can actually literally attack this person, I guess, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I don't know if I should or not. I'm kind of scared. Let's see here. What do I have? I'm holding in my hand the Mask of the Beast. Instead, I think I'm going to hold the Scimitar of Eagles, which we're going to show the customization options in the game, which are awesome. MUDs are fantastic. There's just something about customizing yourself using text that either you get it or you don't, but trust me, it's fantastic. So if I'm wielding that, what do I do? Just attack, right? Where's my attack?
Yeah. With the sword, you'll probably just want to jab him.
Okay, so I type jab?
Yes.
Okay. Lightning quick, you jab a mysterious cloaked figure with the Scimitar of Eagles. He draws his bone-handled knife from its robes and stabs you. Recover. Okay, so now this is going to go a little bit fast.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep jabbing. And F2, I can just consider him, and he has 77% health remaining. Oh my god, he's going to kill me. You're going to get me... I'm going to go through this in here in a second. If I die, that's fine. Let's see where he's at. 66 health. So I'm going to wait for my... How did I get healed? Did you heal me?
I healed you.
Okay, that's fine.
I didn't want to have you the shame of you dying on the
Well,
screen.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all right. I want to explain it whenever I'm done with this fight here. Yeah. So he has 55%. If you notice, it says you have recovered balance on all limbs. That you can see that you'll find that kind of a mechanic as well in other MMO or other MUDs. What it basically is balance is a big. Dead. Okay, so let's let that sit there for a second. First of all, we'll talk about death in a second. Let me talk about this. Look at him. He's even tending to his wounds standing there. Okay, so basically what happens is, look at that nice red wounds there, or red writing there. I'm going to go up here and look at the combat a little bit. You bleed 32 health. Okay, so let's say I attack him and he says lightning quick. I jab a mysterious cloaked figure with the Scimitar of Eagles, right? The cultist blood draws his bone handle knife. So all it's doing is it's giving you basic text. Now, if you can read that fast, great. But you start to you get better at it where you're able to kind of absorb it instead of having to read all of it. So you kind of like, that's why you have recovered balance on all limbs highlighted like that. So when I see that during combat, that means balance means. How would you explain balance, Justin?
It's just a series. It's your physical balance, so you can do a physical attack on balance, or there's also equilibrium, which is your mental balance. So depending on your class, you can do a mental attack which will take equilibrium, and then after, depending on the strength of the ability, your equilibrium will return after a period of time.
Right. Well, yeah, and no cursing there in the chat room, please, if you can, or I'll have to ban you. So you're basically, it's like you're getting on your feet again and stuff like that. So during combat, you're going to be keeping an eye on that. Now, of course, as you get better at the game, which I am not great at the game and at combat, you're going to cast spells. People will help you. I could have hit F6. F is in Frank 6 here, and sip health. I guess sip health is like a potion. Was that a good way?
A potion, yes.
Okay. Now,
yes.
is that something that lasts forever? That potion, or is it just what is that? Because I was confused if that was just a newbie thing, or does it stick around for a long time, or what is the potion that I'm sipping?
It's a health vial, and players in the game have skills to concoct up different vials of curatives, like the health, or there's a mana potion which restores your mana and things like that.
Now those you'll bind to different macros, or how do people typically, do they have just the commands already ready to go pretty much, or what?
Yeah, a lot of people, you can configure the client to automatically sip for you when your health gets low.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
I have that going. Gee.
Yeah, it's an option you need to turn on.
Okay.
So I think somebody in the comments mentioned the command to turn it on.
Yeah, I can't read comments and play at the same time.
Yeah.
People always yell at me in the comments when I'm playing because I'm always on some borrowed character, and they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Dude, I don't know how to play." So let's go over the deaths. So I fought the creature. Let's say I killed him. Cool. Loot would have dropped. I could have picked it up. You can interact with it when you look. When you look in the room, it's going to give you a description. It's going to say on the ground, I guess, would be his sword he dropped or whatever. Correct. And then I could interact with that. Now, but in this case, since I'm a noob and I suck, I died. So how does death typically work in this particular mud?
It's not permadeath, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
Basically, you'll lose a little bit of your experience, which you can gain back by just going out and questing or bashing in the world.
Okay. Let's see. I have been slain by a mysterious cloaked figure. The mask of the beast falls out of your inventory. That was that silly mask I found on the ground. All of your golden sovereigns fall from your lifeless hands. So I don't have any of my coins anymore, right?
Yeah, you can put them in your backpack, and then they won't drop when you die. But you had, I think you had maybe 5 in your hands when you died. So. Oh,
okay. I didn't even look into my hands. Okay, so your coins can drop. So you've got to really be careful about that stuff. Where was that here? Where is it? I forgot where I was reading. Anyway, so I died basically. What is embrace death?
When you die, you go through a little prayer sequence where you go to the realm of death, and the god of death will judge you worthy of returning to life. God. Yeah.
Wow. So you're talking about this part here where it says the flame appears before you, beckoning you to complete the task and enter the flame, or reject its life-giving ministrations and reject the flame.
What happened there is another player came and got your corpse and returned it to the flame, which is a reincarnation device. So you're reincarnated by another player there.
Oh, okay. Oh, so somebody was just kind of keeping an eye on me, of course. Yeah, because I noticed in the Targosis channel down here, which you'll see, you were saying that's the city that I'm in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so somebody was saying can anybody go and grab him and grab this sucky noob and. So whenever I resurrect, the world tree, is that a resurrection spot, or is that just where they happen to pull me to?
Yeah, that is the resurrection spot. If someone comes and resurrects you, that's where you'll end up. Okay. In most cases, yep.
And is there like more of a world map available in here, or is that on the website probably?
Yeah, it's more on the website. There's a large scale world map.
So that's a good question, because in a graphical MMO, you're going to be able to hit M as in Michael typically or something, and you're going to pull up a lot of MMOs. Even one of my favorite MMOs that prides itself on super hardcore gameplay eventually had to add a world map because players were getting so lost. So in a game like a MUD, how do players typically get around? Are they that dependent on other players to tell them where they're at, or they just kind of I know that a lot of MUD players have literally mapped them out as they played along, and kept books of graph paper maps and stuff. So how do players in Achaea, for example, typically get along?
Yeah, a lot of it is knowledge, but we've got a few systems in place to help people get around while they're still learning where things are. We've got a system called landmarks. Like if you type landmarks into the game,
that's right.
see a list of common areas such as your city and things like that, and then you can just walk to those, and basically there's a system where it will automatically walk you there to your destination.
Is it a safe walk? You're not going to be attacked, or?
In most cases you won't be attacked, but no, it doesn't protect you from harm or anything like that.
It's sort of a text-based speedy travel system.
Yes.
But if you wanted to, you could walk there yourself. Okay, so let's say if I let's see here. Where would I I want to actually. That's what I was doing earlier. What was the command? Score to see what I am right now. So if you hit score, beau-hindman Targarsis, I'm level 50 at 0%. I'm Paragon. Blah blah blah. What does Paragon mean?
That's just the name of the level you're at.
Okay.
As you advance, you start as sort of a low-level wimpy guy, and then as you advance in levels, your level names get more and more grand.
I think I'm a high-level wimpy guy right now. Birth date, the 6th of Valnuary, 658 AF. What's AF?
Yes. AF is after the fall, which was the cataclysmic events which led to the game, the game's time frame. So,
I love it.
Yeah, there was the fall of an ancient empire, and then the new empire is where the game is set.
Did you know that I was going to ask you all these questions, and I told you I would go off the list. I'm asking you everything here. So I'm a monk, which means I typically will use my hands. So I could have I don't even need to wield the scimitar of eagles. Right? Was that even wielded? If it wielded, will it unwield it?
Yeah, you can just type unwield scimitar and it'll unwield it.
Okay, because there's none. Let's see. I before E? Yes.
Yeah.
Good golly. Scimitar. Okay, so I mean, if I'm a monk, then I'm going to be using punches and kicks and stuff like that. Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
There's my race, male. And by the way, so the years and the time and all that's kept in real time. There's a calendar and everything like that. So are there holidays, in-game holidays, or anything like that?
Yes, we've got certain events sort of that mark in-game events, as well as we theme a couple of the real-world events into in-game events such as Christmas and things like that.
Okay, very cool. Let's see here. We went over combat just a little bit. That's just a tip. I mean, I think when I played a little while ago, somebody invited me, I believe, to a PvP match. Not a match, but like, let's go beat these people up. And I went along, not so wisely. And it was just a stream of text. Now, you can adopt the text where it shows more or less text correct. Some people like to display the actual numbers of their text or their combat. I personally don't care that much about it. If I die, whatever. But so it can be as complicated or as simple or a lot less simple, but it's pretty quick. So we kind of covered combat. When we're doing the scene descriptions, in other words, when I type in elf or look, you have I guess you have staff writers that are writing all of these, correct?
Yes, we do. We've got something like 450,000 uniquely described rooms.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Across the game. Wow. So, yeah.
So when writing a room description, or even even any description, are you going for a particular style? Is there something that you have like a style guide where things need to fit together and sound like they're from the same world? Or what's the thought process whenever you're doing descriptions?
Yeah, we've got a definitive style guide, and then usually new rooms and scenes are added in groups, so we'll theme it around a certain area. Say it may be a new swamp filled with mutant foxes or bears, like that. So we'll theme all the rooms around that, and then it'll all be launched as a new area.
Okay. So do you think that's, I don't know if you've ever worked on like a graphical game, but do you think that's more challenging or the same challenge, or, because you could just kind of tack one on? Do you find that players seem to think, just throw in some more rooms real quick, or, there's triggers and all sorts of things you have to worry about, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we find that the development time frame, you can sort of put a new room together in 10 or 15 minutes without the need to go through a full art pipeline and get new assets made and things like that, as you would in a graphical game. So in that regard, it allows us to rapidly develop new areas and things like that. So.
Right. But you still have to make sure that there's, and I guess I guess the text is kind of the background, and then the creatures and the NPCs and stuff, they can come and go from that area. So there's a text, or there's a script there, I guess, as well. It's really interesting if you think about it, because while there is a static description in a room, there's also, let's say if you were to go into a cave in a graphical MMO, there's a description, but it's in the form of a of a a wrapped model, that they've done art assets for. So it's about the same process, really, if you think about it. It's just that it's using different tools, and it's pretty interesting. PvP, no, I did not cover PvP. I'm not even going to touch that right now. Well, maybe we'll get to that some other time. But you were saying, Justin, that PvP, although you can avoid it, it is a pretty big part of the game.
Yeah, definitely. Well, our PvP system is, wow, I'm a bit biased, but I think it's probably one of the best that I've ever played.
In the entire world of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So you go in game and you kill noobs all the time. Is that what you're trying to say?
Sometimes.
Oh boy, using.
I like to keep my skills sharp, so I'll
cool.
sometimes make a character and I'll go in and.
So, but during combat, because I was sitting there and I'm frantically just kind of, what is the method to the madness when you're in combat? Are you literally kind of just seeing the text and you kind of instinctively know what to do? Do you start to kind of see an image in your head as you use combat more? Like, what I'm saying? You're not reading everything. So are you just kind of filling it out? Are you hitting combos? Are you
Yeah, there's the depth of it it's quite intimidating for someone who isn't really involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's definitely a chain of events and things that you're always thinking about, because we've got things like afflictions where you can afflict your opponent with various different things based on your skills, and there's sort of 40 or 50 different afflictions that you could potentially do it, and they all interact with each other. So if you do affliction A and then follow it up with affliction C, and then they'll need to go about curing that in a different way. So it's kind of hardcore, like it is pretty in-depth, but
yeah,
it gets the adrenaline going like nothing else I've ever played.
But you know what I mean? You're not really reading, because the text is going by pretty quickly. So are you? Do you have certain triggers or colors set up? Like you're hit with poison. You can do all that, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. People put different colors in for different people's attacks, and when people cure different things, so they can mentally keep track of. Okay, they've cured affliction C, they've still got affliction A, and things like that.
Hey, look, wait. A black crow flaps in with a raucous shriek. I can't read that, sorry. Wild fury in its piercing eyes, it disdainfully drops a parcel into my hands before willing to... Yay! I got a massage. What did he give me? Small parcel, let's look. What? I got all sorts of stuff in this. I'm going to file a bug report. This is not a small parcel. This is a huge parcel. Look at all this cool stuff I got. What was that?
I think one of the players sent you a gift.
How?
So.
How did that? That is so cool.
Yeah.
So they did something somewhere, and the crow came to me and gave me all. Well, thank you, whoever gave that to me. Will it tell me? Can I eat the crow and know who its owners are? Or, what can I do?
If you look in the parcel, you should see what is in there.
I got some combat boots, fingerless gloves, an argent dress shirt. Wow.
Yeah, this is all player designed. We've got a
so cool.
in-game crafting system where players can design clothing and things like that. So this all looks like it's player design clothing that they've sent you to wear.
Well, thank you very much, player. I will actually look at that here in a minute, because what we're going to talk about next, we were talking about this before. Oh, May Fing sent me a tell. A random gift for you is on the way. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you very, very much. So I sometimes I forget to look at the conversations. When I played, I'm not normally this airheaded, trust me. But that's really cool. I love systems like that, and that's what I'm talking about. You can, in a MUD, you're going to have these little moments like that. In a 3D game, you see it happens, and you kind of take that for granted, you know what I mean? But there's something about the text that to me is so exciting, that just even creating a character is incredible. Before we get into customized items, because we were talking about that before, how are players? Is there a limit you can go to where players are like, all right, don't do any more art for that character or that, like, you know what I mean? Is there they want to have it remain in text? There's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're very scared about you ruining it with, let's say, too many descriptions or artwork or something.
Nothing that we've encountered so far. I think,
like, for example, I have these little avatars down here.
Mm-hmm.
I can select one of those. I wonder how many players don't like that because they want to picture it perfectly in their brain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. goes back to that book versus movie thing. It's like the movie doesn't line up with their mental image of things. So I can definitely see, yeah, we've had some people who play who turn everything off and they just have the main output window, and then that way they're free just to have their mental image of things without any external influences and things like that.
What do I want to eat? I want to eat the mushroom.
You probably have to pick it up first.
Oh, get mushroom. Okay, somebody told me to eat it.
You can. It'll take you away to another area and things like that.
I don't know. No. This is the...
Yeah,
no,
probably one for another time.
I'm not sure I'm going to trust that player with that name anyway, but... All right, but so yeah, I'm not going to eat a mushroom with purple and yellow dots in my left hand. So let's go ahead and unwield that for now. I'll eat that later. That actually... I think somebody did that to me before. I could be wrong. Anyway, so that is awesome. So I got this small... it turned to dust, so it's gone. Great. See, but even that little moment there where it turned to dust, I love little stuff like that. All right, so what we're going to talk about real quick then is customizing items, because you have the crafting, of course, but when you have an item, you can also customize it. Now, all items aren't customizable, right? Or are they?
Most are in some way, yeah.
Okay, so what we were talking about earlier is this scimitar of eagles. We set this up already, so if I look at it right now... Engraved with the diving eagle. This mithril scimitar is one of the finest ever produced, blah, blah, blah. So it's a very nice scimitar or whatever, you know. It will reset to you. What does that mean? Is it kind of like it will always stay with me?
Yes, okay. Yeah. If you drop it or you lose it, it'll reset back into your inventory. And
then swing, hack, / jab, those are the commands I should use with this particular weapon? Okay, and those are the ones... Each one would have a different effect, I guess.
Yeah, it's got a different message and a different effect and things like that. You also can get class skills, like if you're a knight class, you can use that weapon in some of your different attacks and things like that.
Okay,
so.
Very cool, very cool. So if I got that scimitar, I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful scimitar, but it needs to be something cooler or whatever. What do I need to do that?
Yeah, we've got an in-game customization system where you can request... You can put your own description in, and then you submit it to the team, and we'll take a look at it. And after we approve it, then you can just basically enter a command, and it will apply that to your weapon.
Okay. And class skills, M. Ranu from the chat room suggested we go over class skills. Yeah, let's do that next. So... There's certain things I can say. You're not going to let me make a scimitar that's called blah, 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 a bunch of curse words or something like that. There are rules to what you can call it. Okay, so I think we set this up kind of earlier before. What did I need to hit?
If you type customization space complete space 4.
And you're spelling customization the Brit way. Okay, so we already set this up. Okay, so I have paid 50 bound credits for customization request 4. What that means is that now the 50 credits, do I get those from the credit shop here?
Yeah, you can earn them in game, or you can buy them from the website in the cash shops.
Okay, okay, very cool. So you can basically buy customization if you needed to, but a lot of people do that, but also a lot, as many people probably earn them in game.
Yep, yeah, it's about 50-50 split of.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So I have paid the 50. So I buy those credits, or I wear them or whatever, or earn them or whatever, and then I pay them. The customization request 4 that's referring to my particular customization request on this scimitar, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So now it had, and earlier we filled out, we cut it kind of quicker here so that you could see it. It wouldn't take forever to do it. But earlier we filled out the description, or I think Justin did it for me. Yeah. And now it says, if you read it, if somebody looks at this particular item, will say, this is Beau's sword, well worn for many adventures across the lands of Achaea. That to me is so incredibly cool. Somebody's I think throwing firecrackers at me. Is that a player thing?
Yeah, they can. Yes,
that's cool.
Looks like a player firework that somebody threw.
Very, very interesting. But to me, those kind of item descriptions, when if you inspect somebody, or in fact, are there people here with me? They're just hiding or something. Let me see where I'm at. I need to look at somebody. Let's see here. Earth Golem. I need to inspect somebody. But on inspection, if they have items that have all these different cool like this is like if somebody inspected me right now, I'm going to wield this crystalline scimitar. They'll say he's wielding a crystalline scimitar, and we'll say this is Beau's sword, well worn for many adventures. Is that right?
Yeah, they'll see the scimitar in your hand, and you can show it off to show the full description with the Beau's scimitar.
Yeah, how do I read my self-description? I forgot.
You can just type "look at me."
Oh, well, that's basic. Okay, he is a MUD. He's wearing nary a shred of cloth. Oh, I'm naked and a canvas backpack, but it doesn't talk about my scimitar. So I'd have to look at scimitar. Or?
Yeah. You can probe your scimitar, but if someone else is in the room, they'll see you wielding the sword.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a very basic thing. What do you find people like to customize the most? Like, what's the most common item that people are customizing?
Usually they're weapons. They're probably one of the bigger things. There's a lot of special one-off items, like we have a traveling band of merchants that come into the game sort of on a very irregular basis, and people scramble to buy like the wares from that, and then they'll get those customized to reset to them so they can never lose those items and things like that. So, yeah.
It's interesting because MUDs are some of the few places now where you will find the developer-player interactions like you did in the old days. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't know if you grew up on, let's say, World of Warcraft or something like that. You don't know what that's like to have an actual interaction with a developer or even an in-game event. Most in-game events, especially in 3D MMOs nowadays, are going to be scripted stuff, and they're not going to have that same magic. Like when that parcel landed here, I had no idea what that was. It's a very simple thing, but to me, this might just be me. I'm sure your players feel the same way, but those little moments, I think, are worth so much more to me than a graphical representation. That's not saying that graphical stuff or 3D stuff is bad. It's not. I enjoy it just as much as anybody. In fact, I cover that more than MUDs. But there's something about the text I just find fascinating. So I'm so glad to hear that you're doing, when you said irregular, that means it's not predictable, I guess, when they show up.
Correct, yes.
So let's go over a little bit about the class skills. What is Amranu talking? Because we got about 20 minutes left here. What is Amranu talking about with class skills? First of all, where can I find my skills?
If you type abilities or just AB, you'll get a list of your skills.
All right, very cool. So class skills are, I take it, skills that are native to that particular class. In my case, I am inept at everything, and I'm a monk.
Yep. So your class skills are the ones you get for being a monk. So you've got Tekura, which is your sort of martial arts sort of one, and then Kaido, which is it's kind of a mystic energy monk sort of skill. Okay, so that's my basic class. Now, general skills, are there more than that I see on this list available in the game? There are, yes. Okay. Each class has 3 class skills, and then everyone gets those general skills there, and then you can learn other things such as crafting skills or seafaring, where you can board a ship and go sailing, and deep sea fishing and exploring and finding islands and things like that.
Very cool. Very cool. That was something that attracted me to Achaea too, because I didn't hear that in anything else. But you basically get a ship and you go right now. You also have housing, which we went over a couple of streams ago. So if you go to probably the best way to see that, if you go to youtube.com/beau-turkey, which is my YouTube page, and you just type in Achaea, you'll see the old interview. I believe I did with your boss there. I believe we talked about housing in that one. I can't remember exactly. But we'll go over that some other time. So general skills, vision, for example, how would a player raise vision skills, or does it raise automatically as that player plays the game?
As you go up in levels and you say you're level 50 now, as you go up to level 51, you'll get some lessons that you can invest in whatever skills you want to. So you say you want to learn some writing, so you can...
What am I doing here? Hold on. I'm kicking. Oh, shoot. I was trying to attack it while you're talking, sorry. Cool.
But say you want to learn riding, so you can find a horse and use that to get around and use that to trample people to death. You can invest those lessons into riding, or say you want to increase your Tekura to be able to beat people up a bit better with your hands, then you can just invest it where you want to.
A mount in a text-based game, how does that work?
It allows you to move a little bit faster. There's various abilities that let you gallop in a direction. So instead of typing, say you've got 6 rooms all south from one another, rather than having to go south, 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 you can just type gallop south, and you'll gallop all the way as far south as you can go.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So it's a mechanic. It's not just a thing in the game, but it's a mechanic, which is really cool. I'm checking out here. I think people are resing me or something, but when I die, I guess it goes through the whole description what you're feeling, and as you go into the process. Now, if somebody was not around, if I did not get a res, I think we described this earlier. What would I have done? I would have just waited eventually, basically.
Yeah, it takes probably about 2 minutes or so. You'll go through the prayer sequence where you go to the realm of death, and the god of death will sit here and judge you, and he'll see if you're worthy or unworthy to come back to life.
Well, I want to be judged by the god of death. I should have just ignored their like if I did not want to be rezzed, couldn't I have said no?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it says up here. Yeah, that's right. I had to decline it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you want to get if you're judged, then you could. What if he judges me not worthy of returning to life? And in what case would that happen? If I was like a criminal or something?
Well, he's pretty kind, and he usually returns everybody to life.
It's no fun. What a wuss. I want to sit there in purgatory or wherever it's at and just be scary. Walk around as a ghost. That would be cool. By the way, I wanted to point out here, this is, just to repeat, by the way, Achaea, Achaea, which is, of course, the hardest thing to pronounce in the world. But if you just Google that, you can check it out. If you also go to Iron Realms, right? Just Iron Realms?
Yep.
They're going to have 5 different modes there you could try out. But Achaea is really fantastic. What you're looking at right now is actually the beta client of the HTML5 client. But there's quite a bit of customization there, but you don't really need to do any, I found on this client, which is fantastic. Other ones I've had to customize every time, but this one, I changed some of the description text background colors just to make it a little easier on my eyes and stuff, but with the map and everything, you really don't need much at all, which is fantastic. And the tutorial is great. So I was going to say down here, if you notice they have a little moon down here, there was some rain earlier. Later you were saying that this little menu item should show the weather effects as well, right?
Yeah, it will eventually. Now it just shows the time of day, but yeah, the weather will be coming in a new version. So.
Right, and then how does weather even affect the game? I mean, what is it? Is it just for fun, or is it actually change things?
It has minor consequences. If it's raining really heavily or it's snowing, then it affects your vision in the room, so you won't be able to see as far and things like that.
Okay, so if I was in game and I had a question about that, could I type help weather?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Cool, beautiful, awesome, and that's going to tell me everything about it. Well, I mean, you remember in most MMOs I come across, weather has no effect at all, so it's nice to see it have some effect. And I think I came across some fog one time, if I'm not mistaken, and it made my vision kind of weird or whatever. So dealing with the weather, that seems dangerous. No, it doesn't. Dangerous. I want dangerous. I want to stay in the netherworld forever and become like a demon or something. That'd be awesome. Okay, so let's go back to the question here real quick. By the way, chat room, if you have questions for him while he's sitting here, you need to ask them now, because once it's gone forever. We'll probably stream some more MUDs. I used to do MUD May every year, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it this year because I'm just doing part-time stuff now, but I might still do some MUD May stuff. But so I might cover it some more. But I love this one, so I'll be coming back to it. Let's see here. What would you say if you had to make a judgment on most of your long-term players? What would you say they say is their favorite aspect of not just Achaea but MUDs in general? Like, what's the feedback you hear from your players? Like, I really love this part.
Yeah, as we were getting prepped, I actually asked some of our leaders, which are the people who run our cities and the big player organizations, what they felt was their key sort of favorite part of the game. Let me just pull up those responses real quick.
Oh, somebody was just there. Darn it. I'm going to go back to that room.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so one of the responses was definitely the ability to make a real difference, but the PvP in the way the Divine, which is our staff who facilitate the RP events, work with to make the entire world feel alive is a huge part too, was one of the responses.
Yeah, okay, that'd be cool. Yeah, I can understand that.
Another one was the potential of a single person to have such a dynamic effect on a significant portion of the player base. So be it through politics or influencing the role-playing events and things like that, you can sort of
Okay, but the politics, real quick, you know that that is just like begging for drama. To put somebody in charge of a bunch of people. It happens even when people aren't in charge, so, which is fantastic. I love drama. What's the challenge there? Do you spend like 400 hours a week, trying to maintain the peace between a lot of these, or do you find that the organizational aspects, because I don't know how the city stuff works, do you find that it actually helps keep it kind of to a minimum because people respect the office, quote unquote, or?
Yeah, definitely. There's a bit of that, and I think a lot of people realize that the people, even though they're playing the game, they realize that there's still another person playing the game, being the leader of that organization. So I think there's a bit of understanding that, they're a person playing the game too. But yeah, some of the politics is pretty cutthroat.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of the inter-organizational or even intra-organizational, like the politics within a city or a house, as people vie for leadership, and like they'll undercut each other. And
well, Amranu is saying that most cities fight each other. So, but
yes,
that's understandable. But within those cities, though, I mean, what's a typical city size? Do you have numbers on that, or is that something you like to talk about? Like, is it 100 players, 50 players, 12 players, or does it just kind of depend?
Yeah, there's probably, I'd say maybe 50 up to, depending on time of day and things like that, there may be 50 people in a city at one time, or there could be sort of 200 or 300 over the course of a day.
Would it be safe to describe these cities as kind of a guild?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Okay.
they're all probably a bit more RP focused than sort of say like a WoW guild or something like that, where it's just a group of friends.
Right.
But the cities are all based around like an ethos and like theology and things like that, so they'll sort of bind together under that unifying concept.
Right. Okay. Well, it sounds very interesting, but I would be. Oh, and go ahead. What was some? Well, before we get off on that, what was some of the other aspects that people really liked about the game?
Okay. And then another response was, I've always loved how the game feels like a favorite book you could be in character. You wish you could be the character in, and in this case you are.
Oh my God, there's a grizzly bear here. I think I should attack it.
Okay.
That's what is appealing to me about it. In MUDs, I never feel that pressure to go do something. I don't want to be told to go. I play games for a living. I work on games for a living. I don't want to get into a game and be told you have to go do this stuff, or you're like not keeping up with the Joneses. You know what I'm saying? I just can't stand that feeling. Now I'm sure in every MUD you run, and in every game out there, there's some aspect. People, that's just kind of the nature of gaming. People like to be a little competitive. But in MUDs, in Achaea, I get the same feeling, which is probably one of the reasons I'm such a slow leveler in any game, is I really just kind of enjoy chilling out. So in MUDs, it seems like that's a little bit more of a flexibility because roleplay is so common. Because you're in text, you can kind of like there's fishing and there's fishing in Achaea, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Fishing. Yeah.
So you can kind of hang out and just tell stories and chill out, So, what you have some more there? Some more favorites or aspects of the game? I'm gonna throw you a curveball real quick here.
Yep. Okay, go for it.
What would you say? What do you think some of your long-term players say is their least popular aspect of the game?
Oh wow, that is a tough one.
Cut through the BS, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if there was something that you say not lacking, but something that if you had $1 billion in unlimited developer time, what would you like to kind of improve on? Or now, granted, bear in mind the players are going to quote you on this and think that you're announcing something. Yeah. That's development. So go for it.
Yeah. That really is a tough one. There is so much that we'd like to do. Like, we're still a small team, but we try to get through things as much as possible. So I'm sure there's various projects around that people have been dying to see in the game that probably we haven't had the time or the development resources to get to just yet. So yeah, I imagine that's going to be a big reason that
I like the fact every time I come in, I talk to you guys and girls, you've done something else to the website, the client. is always improving. It seems like you're very aware of modern technology, but you're basically, your game is an animated book. You can't get more old school than that. So I love I love that kind of combination of old school and new. For example, I just came onto the scene here, and it said Lightleaf the treekin stands here, roots firmly planted firmly in the ground. Is that a player?
No, that was an NPC.
Oh wow, because she just uprooted herself, and I was like, I don't know if players can uproot them or downroot themselves. So that's look at the description there. Lightleaf for name. She appears to be alert. I mean, that's like a named NPC. So is that part of a quest? Is it just kind of depend? Like, is it? I mean,
yeah. She.
If it's a mystery, you want to tell me, that's cool. But
no, I think she's just purely flavor. I don't think she's involved in any quests anymore.
Okay, very cool. But that's an example of an NPC that wanders or does certain things. And players can interact in some cases. I did a quest. I know that when you're doing the newbie stuff, you do a few quests where you actually go and talk. I think it shows you how to cook, how to get the potatoes out of the cabinet and stuff. I mean, you have to remember that new players especially have to remember that in a MUD, you don't just open the door and grab the potato. You have to just say, open door, grab. You have to go through the steps. And at first, it's a little clunky. That's pretty typical for any MUD just because of the nature of the interaction. But when you get used to it, it actually becomes really, really interesting. It's like you're literally adjusting the text of a book. It's pretty cool. All right, so we have a few more minutes here. Did we have any questions, chat? I thought we did. Players usually don't ask until I log out, and they're like, "Oh, could you ask them?" Let's see here. Faction stuff. What is she mean by? What is she talking about? Factions. What are factions?
Factions are like the city-states. So as we were talking about before, the factions will conflict with each other. So say the city of Ashtan will go and attack the city of Targosis, which is the city that you're in on your character at the moment.
Whoa, Marino just came in here. Check this out. I don't know if you know this, but players have descriptions when you look at them. He's a black dragon. So this is the high level kind of next level thing. Would that be I mean, is he literally a black dragon, or is that a description?
No, he's actually a black dragon.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Mighty wings jut from a huge scaled back, and a large sinuous tail trails off his hindquarters. Of that description, was he able to adjust that himself or herself? Or was that something that's set once the level is hit?
Yeah, when people get to the 99th level, they can become a dragon, as Amranu is here.
Wow.
And they can pick a different color. So he's a black dragon, but you can also be a gold, silver, red, green, blue. And they've all got varying effects based on the color. Like the green dragon has poison-based attacks, and the blue dragon has cold-based attacks, and the red one has fire.
Right.
So, the descriptions are fixed for the different colors, but each one is different. So
very cool. Real quick, we'll do this last question, and then I've got to get, because we do an hour live streams here. I'll do some more here. Definitely stream. I stream MUDs all the time, or I've been known to. So we'll get to it definitely some more. So after this stream, I'll probably log out in the game. So if you have any messages, of course, tweet me at beau_hindman. Or you can always go to my YouTube page and leave some comments or whatever. But Amranu asked up here, where did it go? Or I'm sorry, Nixternal asked, what are you most excited to see come into Achaea? If you could, this is kind of different than what I asked. If you could just develop whatever you want. What are you excited to see? Is there something that's been in development for a while that you're excited about?
We're just finishing up a big project now, which relates to all the cities and some tweaks there. But after that's done, we're going to revisit our ship system. So there's going to be a lot more depth added to getting out on the ocean and sailing and things like that. So I'm really excited about being able to really get that to the level that it probably needs to be.
Sure.
Like just taking that to the next level and just making it a really awesome system.
So here I clicked on Amranu's honors. Honors are those like special things they get as a kind of achieve throughout the game?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, you can see a bit of information, and then you can you see the honors deeds link. Mm-hmm. If you click on that, you'll see the...
He slew anti-Mame, stopping a nefarious experiment.
Yeah, so you can do various quests and events and things like that to gain custom honors.
Oh, okay.
So you can see.
Well, what's
Yeah.
cool about that too is I have no idea who Anti-Mame is, and I don't even know what nefarious experiment that Amrenu, the dragon, who I just met for the first time in my life, I don't know what all that meant, but now I'm curious about it. And there's that mystery there, you know.
Yep.
In a graphical mode, you might look, or MMO, you might look at the environment and see something cool. But in this one, you're kind of picturing this whole backstory. You're not even sure what all of it means, you know. So that's, hey. By the way, Amrani, you've been divorced twice. I think third time might be a charm. So you can get married in game, I guess.
Yes.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. All right, so that is just a smidge of some Achaea stuff. We'll need to actually dedicate a stream just to maybe combat or travel or something like that. I think we covered housing last time. If you go to my YouTube channel, like I said, Beau Turkey, Beau Turkey, my name with turkey on the end, and just go and search for that. If you just put beau-hindman into Google, you'll find all my stuff forever. I'm all over it. But
Yep.
I appreciate you coming on the show and trying to answer some of my basic newbie questions. I'll have to continue playing.
Yep.
If you have a player, let's say, that's played for a while, let's say they do hit level 50 like this character I have, is what do you think they should continue doing just real quick? Should they kind of keep doing the quests or join up with a city, or just kind of, if there was one basic direction you think they should go in, or they might want to go in?
Yeah, as you get up in the levels, there's sort of a whole slew of things opens up to you. You can, keep working towards becoming a dragon, or you can become a famed killer by PvPing people and things like that. So
there's really almost anything you can think of. I mean,
yeah, you can get into politics and.
Cool. Well, I think I'll become a governor or something and rule a city. Just
I look forward to it.
Be real corrupt. I think I'd like to be corrupt. But no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
What I like to do is play a very simple character. I don't like to actually be very powerful. I know that sounds silly. I like to be the dude in the background who's just kind of helping out. Maybe an NPC. Oh, we didn't even talk about trade. I don't know how trade involved is it. I mean, you do have trade in the game, I guess.
Yes.
So I will talk about that some other time. But if you want to play Achaea, what should they do? Where should they go?
Yeah, just head over to Achaea.com and hit the play now button, and you'll bring up the client and be able to play.
Yeah, it really is that simple, and it's really a fun process because the tutorial is a blast, by the way. So you really get sucked into it pretty quickly, but it does take a little while. And it's, of course, free to play with optional purchases for credits and stuff like that, right?
Correct, yes.
And that's the same monetization across all your titles.
Yes.
Very cool. All right, so everybody in chat room, thanks for joining me. If you have any questions that you want me to ask later, maybe I could, because I might be doing some mud-made stuff. I don't know. You can also read my articles over on mmorpg.com. Really, if you go to Twitter, at beau_hindman, that's probably the easiest way to see all my stuff. I just use it as a basically kind of little mini blog in a way, so just go over there and check out everything. I wrote a novel if you're into science fiction and stuff like that, so go check it out. But anyway, thanks for joining me again, Justin. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Beau.
All right, I'll see everybody next time. If you have any questions, just send me a message. Bye-bye.